Hello, how are we today, Facebook family, Facebook church family? Hope you're all doing great. Today we get to speak with Pastor John Finkelde from all the way over the other side of the earth, of Australia, over in Perth. Welcome, Pastor John.
Karen, great to be here. We have closed the border, but we can cross it digitally.
Oh, that's the main thing, isn't it?
That's right. Totally.
Oh, so Pastor John, I've just seen your name flash around Facebook and Instagram a few times, mostly relating you with Grow a Healthy Church. And I assume that you've had a lot to do with churches in the past. Can you give us a bit of a rundown about yourself?
Yeah, sure, Karen. And please call me John. Don't need to have the title on me, but thank you for that honour. Look, I pastored here in Perth. I'm a Perth boy, born and bred, lived all my life here, except 1 year in New Zealand, which was a great part of my journey to Christ, actually coming to Christ in New Zealand. But pastored here in Perth for 30 years, 10 years as a team pastor, if you like, youth pastor, connect group pastor, pastoral care pastor, anything the senior pastor didn't want to do, pastor. I did all the odd jobs and everything, and then became the lead pastor of our church for 20 years. And 8 years ago, we finished that, transitioned our church over to next generation leaders, Jason and Em Schroeder, who are now our lead pastors of our church, which is fabulous. And we started a ministry called Grow a Healthy Church, which is basically consulting with churches and coaching pastors, and been doing that for the last 8 years. I'm very passionate about church and about pastors as well, having sat in the hot seat for all those decades. I kind of can relate and empathise with them.
You're a pro.
Yeah, I've been at it for a while. I'm a veteran. Whenever people start calling you a father in the faith, it means you're getting older.
I remember that.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, wow. So is that one reason why you started Grow a Healthy Church, is because you saw a need within the church community of pastors needing mentoring and discipleshiping and sort of guiding in that type of area?
Yeah, I think Diane and I have, it's my wife, Diane. We've been married 42 years this year.
Wow.
Which is fabulous. But we've probably, one of our big passions over the decades in serving the Lord has been to see people find their niche, their calling, their gift, their particular place, and see them flourish in that. That's probably been one of our greatest joys over the decades of pastoring, is helping people wend their way into who they are and what they should be doing, serving the Lord. So I think we always felt like if we could finish pastoring young enough with enough energy, we'd like to go on to some sort of, we didn't know what it would be, training, coaching, mentoring, I don't know. We just thought we wanted to do something else. And so I think the current spot we're in the last 8 years of mentoring, coaching, consulting with churches, training leaders, is really our sweet spot. We're probably in our sweetest spot, if you like, of all our ministry life. It's like a convergence of all the years to take our experience, our learning, our skill set, and come alongside churches and help them do better in all that they're doing. So I think it's probably out of our passion that's developed over the years that Grow a Healthy Church has really become our focal point now for the rest of our years, however long we've got.
What a great ministry too, and a great blessing you would be to other churches and pastors around. Well, how far do you go? Is it just within Australia or worldwide? How far do you help pastors?
Great question, because when we started the first 2 years, I said to Diane, look, we'll give this a go for 2 years. If it doesn't work, I'll have to go and get a job or gardening or something. I don't know, I have to do something else. And we're 8 years later, just thank you to the grace of God, we're still rolling on. So it started in Australia, then New Zealand. And in the last 4 years, we've been working in the Netherlands and the UK, and also started work in Switzerland, but been back to Switzerland again this year for a couple of consults. So I have plans to go to Sweden later this year. So I'm hoping that once the planes get going, I'll get to Sweden as well. So it's spread into the UK and Europe region quite just basically through one invitation. It's kind of multiplied through that area. So it's really been, you know, I'm actually, I tell people I am way beyond my dream about this thing. Never at any stage did I think we'd be going to somewhere like Europe and UK and helping churches over there. But the need is mammoth and the need is global.
Sure is. Yeah. So let's get back to Grow a Healthy Church. So what is Grow a Healthy Church? Is it a course? Is it a discipleship thing? Is it a training? What is Grow a Healthy Church?
We have two kind of primary, elements, if you like, to Grow a Healthy Church. One is the on-site consulting. So I've done 131, I think it is 132 of on-site consults across about 10 different denominations and movements. And some of those churches I go back to twice. So it represents around about 70 or so churches. So I'll go into a church for 4 days. Before I arrive, I'll get a pastor's survey that I've designed that looks at 10 elements of the church and 2 elements of the pastor's life. I get a lot of data around the metrics of the church, and I also get a questionnaire filled out by the pastor. So before I arrive, I gather a lot of, if you like, hard data about the church. So I'm able to do some analysis before I arrive. Then over the 4 days, I'll spend about 6 hours with the pastor, unpacking all that analysis, finding out where the hot spots in the church are, where I can help most, what's going well, what can be boosted. I spend time interviewing key leaders. I do some training of key leaders and volunteers. I do some coaching with the board on best practices for governance. Normally preach on the Sunday, and at the end of the 4 days, I sit down with the pastor and give the pastor about a 9 or 10 page report, which is primarily a next steps report. And it takes things that I've analysed around the 10 elements of the church, which go from discipleship to Sunday service, to volunteering, to visitors. I try and remember all these: evangelism, metrics, finances, all different areas. And I give the pastor a next steps report that primarily does 2 things. One is designed to give the pastor and the leadership of the church a fresh boost of hope. I never want to leave with a pastor feeling worse. I want to give them a lift in their spirit and their heart. And secondly, I want to give them real clarity about their next steps and even a timeline over the next 12 months. And once I leave, I then start coaching the pastor for 12 months and help them implement all that I've recommended over the next 12 months. So the consulting is the main thing I do. The second thing I do is a hub resources. It's a one-stop resource center for pastors and church leaders where you can join. It's a membership site. You join $15 US a month. First month is totally free, so you can get in there, download everything, and skedaddle, take off, enjoy it all, whatever. But that has dozens of various resources in video, audio, and in PDFs that basically center around those 12 elements that I do consulting on. So it's really a resource center for pastors and church leaders to jump into and get all their goodies, which I download into this. So it's the hub and the consulting is the main thing that I do.
So what would be the typical kind of person to jump into that program or into those areas?
Yeah, look, it's a wide range, Chris. It's churches from 30 people to 1,000 people in terms of size. The majority of the churches are under 500, which all churches around the globe, the huge majority are under 500. So, and those churches can be in a state of from chaos to really healthy. So they can be extremely dysfunctional, broken, things just aren't happening. There's people not coming to Christ. There's discipling not happen. Sunday services are a bit, bland, I guess would be a word I'd use, right through to churches that are actually doing really well and just looking to improve certain areas. So it's a bit like, don't wait till you get sick to get your annual checkup with the doctor. I tell guys over 50, go every year anyway. Just get a checkup, see how you're doing, see how you can improve your health if you're already healthy. Maybe there's something inside you or a part of your health that you don't realize isn't that well, but a doctor will be able to find it and say, hey, shift this around in your diet or your exercise and you'll be able to improve your health. So I find a wide range of churches. Got many fascinating stories, but can't publish the book until I die.
Oh, okay.
Nice. So at the moment, what are some of the top things that people are discussing with you about pivoting church during this time?
Wow, that's a mammoth question.
Or just one or two.
Really good question. I think the whole how do you get online and get engagement online is probably, I would say, one of the top 3 challenges at the moment. So it's not just about views. First week or two, people say, I got so many views. And I said, well, I don't think that matters well, it does matter, but engagement is the whole deal. So how do you get engagement? Not just on Sunday, but through the week. And pastors are scrambling. No one is cruising. Everyone is scrambling with a fair degree of feeling frazzled at the moment of trying to work out how do I get engagement. And we'll work that out over the next few months. I think pastors will wend their way into a place of good engagement. I think secondly, how do you actually care for people when you can't visit them? How do you actually measure health in your church? How do you measure the health spiritually of someone when all you've got, not all you've got, but what you've got primarily is Zoom and phone calls and texts? It's so hard. So I've actually got a good friend of mine. She's a doctor of psychology. I've actually got her working on qualitative measures of how do you measure qualitative things in a good way? Because the quantitative metrics are basically out the window. How many people baptized, serving, small groups? They're pretty well gone to a great degree in this season. So learning qualitative measures. So I think that pastoral care and checking on health. And then I think what will come in the next 5 or 6 weeks, once we get past this scramble, and I think pastors will settle into a new normal in the next couple of weeks, next few weeks, I'd say by the end of April, is that pastors start to think, how do we actually reach people who are not in our church?
Now, I think that's the next move, isn't it?
I think it is. I think it's a few weeks away. I'm telling pastors, focus on your flock. That's enough work at the moment. The community, they'll connect in somehow, somewhere. Put your stuff out there, but I wouldn't focus there at the moment personally. I think there's far too much to do just with the flock you've got, rather than stressing about, gee, how am I going to reach everybody who needs Jesus now? I'd be leaving that for another month or so, to be honest.
We got an email and some messages yesterday from the state government here in Victoria. They've closed the whole term down. So all the school kids are going to be at home for the whole term. So you're hearing all the mums and carers just go, oh no, another 9 weeks of this. I
want a relief teacher.
Oh mate, so and I mean we've been sent the whole curriculum by our school. And they're like, just in case you can't do online, here's everything. And my wife looked at it and just went, how are we going to do that? We're going to work, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. So now we're going to homeschool as well. So
crazy.
So it's this whole pastoral care thing and just making sure people are even coping with the kids at home and the changing routine and just their mental health. They've not been able to go for a drive even. I mean, we saw in the news this mum get a ticket for taking her daughter on an L-plate driving lesson, which
that's crazy,
completely crazy. But at some point, people are going to need to go for a drive, just to get out of the house. So I think it's a tricky thing for the lawmakers too to try and get right that mental health balance. And then we bring that into church.
You've also got pastors who are doing the caring, and also they're going through their own emotional challenges and mental health challenges. I mean, they're frazzled and scrambling. I'm talking to pastors pretty well most days of the week, Monday to Friday. I'm having weekends off because I'm not pastoring church. I don't have to go online. I just sit down Sunday. I'm unplugging. I need the break, to be honest with you as well. But caring for pastors is a major, major focus at the moment for a bundle of guys like me who have got the time, the energy, and maybe the resources to help in there as well. Because if pastors start hitting the wall in the next couple of months, my goodness, the flow and effect of that is going to be deeply disturbing.
Yeah, it has been hard. I get emotional over that. We're talking to some pastors about how they're coping. But now do you think is a good time for pastors to sit down and review their churches and kind of sit down and think, hey, I've got to bit extra time now, can I
Yeah.
get in contact with you, John, and just, go
Yeah.
through a bit about our church and how healthy it is? Because it wouldn't surprise me if you see things that pastors don't see in their own church, and you do open a lot of eyes and put new ideas in, which would really encourage and spur pastors on. And I suppose at this time now, giving them those ideas and encouragement would give them something to look forward to at the end of this season that we're all going through.
Yeah, you're right, Karen. I think the beauty of a consultant, if I can put it this way, is the fresh eyes, that you bring fresh eyes to a situation. And because I've now done 130 plus of these consults, a lot of consults I go into actually pick up ideas that I then roll on into my kind of toolkit bag for future consults. So I'm kind of learning things all the time, because pastors are practitioners. They're on the front line, and so I'm learning from them as I go through as well. It's interesting. I think we're in this. I was talking with Carl Vaders, who is a wonderful author, brilliant man, related especially to small churches. I was Skyping with him this morning. He's talking about two phases of this. One is the adaptation phase, adapting to where we are, then the recovery phase. And I think at the moment, I've offered some crisis coaching out there to pastors at really more than half of my reduced rate to help pastors out. I think my feeling is the next 5 or 6 weeks, by about the middle of May, I think pastors will be starting to go, you know what, I think I need some help. At the moment, I think pastors are just scrambling to get online, make it happen at all sorts of varying levels. I was talking with the pastor yesterday, good medium-sized church, 600-700 in Australia. And her church, she's just kind of saying, I'm overwhelmed just trying to get online every week. And that's a large church with resources. So I can't imagine how a church of 100, 150 is trying to wrestle with that same issue. So I think we'll see in May, I think more pastors will be going, help me. I reckon June, July, pastors will start to switch a few gears and go, okay, we're going to come out of this. I need some help in the recovery phase. I've adapted, but we're going to have to recover when people come back to church and gather again. How can we do that in a way that we don't lose the online momentum we've got, but also adapt to a new day? And I think we're all facing the fact that the next 2 years, the mental health, emotional well-being of our nation is really going to be under a lot of stress. So I think that recovery phase is going to be a couple of years, to be honest with you. So, I think guys like me, I think hopefully will be in demand. There's plenty of guys like me around who I think can add a lot of help and hope to pastors.
What's the best way to find guys like you? Just say you're overloaded with your schedule. Where's a good place to go if you're an independent pastor or you're not really connected into another group? What advice would you have for those people?
Yeah, look, I if you want to find me, my website, growahealthychurch.com, and you can find me on there, and that has links through to my Facebook group. I've got a private Facebook group for anyone who wants to jump in. That's open to anyone, over 1,000 people in that. You can jump in there and jump into the community. There's great guys like Michael Murphy in Sydney. Michael does some brilliant work with coaching pastors and dealing with pastors. I think also it's worthwhile you reaching out to your movement or denominational headquarters. And some movements are better set up than others around this. Do actually reach out to your head office and say, hey, I need some help. I need to talk to someone. Can you point me in the right direction? You'll find some movements will have already people in place that you can pick up the phone, have a talk, do a bit of a download, get some ideas forward. Now, look, if anyone wants to reach out to me and just wants some help, don't want to engage me, just would like some help, look, send me a message. I'm doing stuff for free these days as well, just to help anyone I can. More than happy to engage with people at whatever level. But there's some really good people around the nation. But have a go at growhealthychurch.com or reach out to your denominational headquarters as well. And if you can't find anyone, get in touch with me. I'll find you someone.
Yep, cool.
Well, that sounds good. Well, thanks, John, for touching base with us today. I've really learned more about Grow a Healthy Church and the ministry that you have going around the world. And I just pray that God will continue to bless your ministry, as you bless pastors and churches around the whole earth. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Chris. It's been great being with you guys and all the work that you guys do. I sent you a message the other day, Karen. Saying, are you having a break? Are you stopping?
What is that? My husband asked the same thing.
Uncle John says, have a weekend off.
That's it.
I'll try.
Come on, unplug.
I think we're chatting like yesterday. I don't think like it's like every day we're chatting. Like it's like what's going on today? You know, who needs help today? You know, so
that's right.
Yep.
Continuous right now.
Unplugging.
Cool.
It is full on. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.